Mr. and Mrs. Edward looked perfect from the outside. They lived in a beautiful duplex in Lekki, hosted elegant dinners, and smiled brightly in every photo on social media. Their captions were always about forever and power couple goals, but inside the walls of their home, love had slowly turned into control. Mr. Edward was charming in public, confident, articulate, admired. But at home, he was different. He criticized everything Mrs. Edward did. The food was never good enough. The house was never clean enough. Her clothes were too loud. Her friends were bad influence. At first, she laughed it off, thinking he just wanted the best for her. But over time, the jokes became insults. You're lucky I married you. Who else would put up with you? Without me, you are nothing. Mrs. Edward began to shrink. She stopped wearing bright colors. She stopped answering her friends' calls. She deleted pictures. That made her feel confident because he said they were disrespectful. Yet when she cried, Mr. Edward would switch. He would buy her gifts, expensive perfumes, jewelry. He would apologize softly and blame his temper on stress. He would hold her and promise change. And she would believe him. The cycle continued. One night, after a small argument about a late reply to a message, Mr. Edward exploded. He accused her of cheating. He grabbed her phone, smashed it against the wall, and shouted so loud the neighbors could hear. When she tried to explain, he pushed her away. Not hard enough to bruise deeply, just enough to intimidate. The next morning, there were roses on the table. "I'm sorry," he said. "You make me lose control because I love you too much." But something inside Mrs. Edward shifted. She started noticing the pattern, tension, explosion, apology, honeymoon, over and over. She realized love shouldn't feel like walking on eggshells. It shouldn't feel like fear. One evening, as Mr. Edward lectured her again about how she embarrassed him at a gathering, she didn't cry, she didn't argue, she simply listened. And when he finished, she calmly said, "I don't recognize myself anymore." He laughed, thinking it was another emotional outburst. But this time, it wasn't. The next morning, while he was at work, she packed one suitcase. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of survival. She left the house that looked perfect. She left the man who once felt like everything. She left the version of herself that kept shrinking to fit his ego. When Mr. Edward came home to an empty closet, he was furious, then shocked, then alone, for the first time. There was no one to control, no one to blame, no one to manipulate, and for the first time in years, Mrs. Edward could breathe. The story of Mr. and Mrs. Edward wasn't about love gone wrong. It was about a woman who finally chose herself.